Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today you are joining me from a different spot than the normal. Yes, we are in my kitchen. So today I thought it would be fun just to do a video showcasing my kitchen cabinets that I painted it's been over 5 years now, and talk to you about what I used, how they've held up, and I'm going to honestly show you the up close so that you can get an idea if this is something you're thinking of doing, you know what to expect. Now, when I painted my cabinets 5 years ago, I used the paint that I had just first started using. I had never tried any other paint on the market, and this was the very first one, and that is Annie Sloan chalk paint. I do still use it today, but I use it for different processes basically. I don't use it as I would for a project like this where it's just kitchen cabinets or dressers. I use it for a blended look, and that's just a personal choice because over the years I have found that there are so many different paints. As you guys know, I've done a ton of review videos. I have discovered what some of my favorite paints are, and if I were to do it again, would I use this paint? So let's go over all the good things, and I'm going to show you firsthand what the cabinets look like 5 years later, and then I'll tell you what my process was to do that. Okay, so I chose to do a two-tone cabinet effect. On the top, I did Annie Sloan Old White. Now again, this was 5 years ago, so their color has actually changed, but I love it. It is more of a creamy white. Now you will see, and this was meant to be, this is the dark wax. I wanted a farmhouse look, so let me kind of pull back so you guys can see. So I did the old white, clear wax, and then I aged them only in the corners and in certain areas. On camera it doesn't show up as much, but there's kind of an idea for you. So let me get in here really close because I want you guys to see how, and keep in mind, mine are slightly, have that farmhouse look. So they're meant to look like they've got that dirty effect. But I want you to see there are no chips, there are no, we've had no problems with the wear. Now, I did wax them, and they do recommend that you re-wax after a certain period of time. I'm going to be honest, I've never re-waxed them. Let me just show you. Yeah, lots of cabinets. So the fact that I would have to re-wax these, I figured no way. So I haven't done it, and they're still holding up beautiful. All right, so here are the lowers. I went with the Annie Sloan Graphite, and I dark waxed them. Oh, and for those of you that are asking, what did I do on the ends of the cabinets? Because we had, usually they put just like a cheesy piece of veneer on there, and it was like super smooth and it was not going to paint well. We went ahead and ripped that off and put beadboard. So anyway, these are my cabinets. I wanted to show you up close. As the camera shows, yeah, it looks a little dry. It's funny, they don't look like this in person, but I would say they definitely need a re-wax. So that is up close. So you guys, this kind of gives you an idea of what they look like together. And yeah, there you go. Here's a shot of all of the cream cabinets that I had to do. So you guys can see that's a lot of cabinets. That was a huge undertaking for my very first chalk paint project. But I want to show you up close so you can kind of see. This is all of the aging wax, the brown wax that I use. That's a look I wanted. I wanted that farmhouse look. When I first did it, they were really bright, and then when I put on the brown wax, it really gave it the look that I wanted. But just so you guys can see, wear-wise, they're in great, great condition. So after so many years and constant use of these cabinets, they do not show wear. And here is a snapshot of the entire kitchen, just so you guys can see. Yes, we did that too. That was all painted drywall, and we ripped that out and did an old rustic barnwood on there, which I absolutely love. So you've seen the up close, you know what they look like. I am personally really happy with them. The way that I wanted my cabinets to look was that really antique farmhouse look. I wanted them to look very aged. So that's the look I chose to go with. When I first painted the old white, it was so bright for me, and I thought, ooh, I don't really like it. Once I started to wax it with just the clear wax, it deepens the color, and then I added my brown or dark wax on it as well to create that aged look. That look is not for everybody, but it's what I wanted, and it goes with my decor, and it was a great choice. So the process itself, it was a huge undertaking. This was the very first thing I had ever done prior to painting furniture. I started with this. We had wanted to do a whole kitchen remodel, and the builder grade oak cabinets were just not my thing. I couldn't stand it. And because we have so many cabinets in this kitchen, it was just this sea of golden oak, and it had to go. So I did a lot of research, figured out what I wanted to use, and went for it. Now, I did this all in my house. Yes, all in the house, because when I did it, it was winter time, so it was far too cold to be out in the garage and the workshop, outside, anywhere. So it was quite the undertaking. What I will tell you is, if you have not painted before, don't start with your kitchen. Start smaller. Being that I started very aggressively with a huge project, it being I had never painted before was absolutely crazy. I did it. It was fine. Would I do it again? Probably yes now, because there's so many different products out on the market, and I kind of know a little bit more about what I'm doing. But at the time, I think I was about a week in, and I literally would wake up in the morning, see all these cabinets in different spots all over my home, and wanted to probably cry that I was nowhere near done yet. One question I get asked a lot is, did I do the inside back of the cabinet doors? Absolutely. For me, it's a personal choice. I see this question get asked all the time, and I feel like it's unfinished if you don't. I took off every cabinet door, I marked every hinge, and I marked every door, and I did front and back. And I waxed front and back. That's the thing I would change today. Not that wax isn't a good top coat. It gets a bad name, but here's the bottom line. Done right, wax is equally as good of a top coat as any other. There's two caveats. Yes, you need to probably redo it after about a year or two. Sometimes you can go longer. I have not re-waxed mine. Why? Because that was the worst part of the process for me. Waxing a piece of furniture, no problem. Waxing all of this, front and back, it was literally the death of me with this project. My poor arm was about to fall off. I was tired of doing it. I just didn't want to do it anymore. So if I were to do them today, I would do a water-based polyacrylic and probably a glaze to get that aged effect, if that's what I was looking for. So on a small scale, waxing, not an issue. On the big scale, yeah, it can be a lot of work. So I would rethink that one. Now, as far as how the wax has held up as a top coat, here's something I hear people say a lot. Oh, it's in a kitchen, it's gonna get hot, the wax is gonna melt. Absolutely untrue. First of all, if your cabinets are getting hot in the kitchen, I think you have a bigger problem. Up above here, my range top, absolutely not should that be getting hot. Absolutely not would it melt the wax, no. So you got a huge issue if your cabinets are getting hot from cooking in the kitchen. So as far as the way that it is held up, I have no issues with it. I showed you guys, and that was probably happened maybe about a year or two ago, where I started noticing those little chips, or what I would call distressing. My cabinets are actually, or my drawers are distressing in the place that they should, where they normally get the most wear. Like I mentioned, that was my utensil drawer. So yeah, you can imagine that thing gets opened all during the day, all hours of the day, so it gets the most use. The other drawer I have that's like that is right here in front of me. It's a little faux drawer, but because our hands touch it when we're wet, and again, there's some utensils in there, it gets opened all the time, so there's some wear there. Other than that, I have to tell you, I'm so wonderfully surprised that it has held up this long, because you just never know. So there's two things I would like to say. If you've thought about using chalk paint, it is a great paint to use. It distresses easily. It waxes and ages nicely. It is not difficult to work with, and there's all types of chalk paints out there on the market. I chose Annie because I was just getting into this business and I had no idea what I was doing, and I knew that it was a really popular, very well-liked chalk paint that a lot of people talked great things about. That's why I chose it. So, you know, for me, it was just a personal choice at the time. Like I said, since the time I've done these, I have tried so many different paints, and there are some different ones I would probably use today. I might use the Wise Owl paint 1 hour enamel, dries hard as nails, is really meant for cabinetry. I know Sherwin-Williams and Benjamin Moore make great cabinet paints. I haven't personally used them, but they do. General Finishes, that's one of my top products in my shop that I use. I would use that paint. And again, I would use a water-based top coat just to merely save time and add that protection onto the cabinets. So there it is there. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions or positive comments, make sure you leave them down below, because I absolutely love getting back to you and I love reading all your positive comments. Thank you so much, you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.